Goal setting 101. So a lot of this is, the first half of this training is really all mental. It's going to be dealing with the mentality of setting goals, figuring out what you want, what you need. And then so much of success, 90+% of success happens right here between your ears. It's all in your mind. How you perceive things, how things happen to you, what you're looking for in the world, all has to do with your mindset, thinking, preparing, properly looking for the right stuff, preparing and doing the right stuff. All of it, so much of it is mental. So we're gonna be talking a lot about that. And then we're gonna get into the tactical stuff and actually the exercise of goal setting. We're not gonna set goals in this course. This should be a thing you guys do, right? This isn't, I don't want people to set goals, you know, if they've got a meeting in 30 minutes, I'm gonna set some goals real quick. That's not how goals are set. You need to block some time. It might take 2, 3, 4 hours. If you really think about this, we'll go through this more, but a goal setting process, we're not gonna do it now, we're just gonna go through the exercise of it, and then you'll do it later. So jot notes, do whatever. We'll get more printouts. If anyone needs any more printouts and stuff too, we can get you some. So the most important piece of the puzzle, I titled this slide, but then I didn't put it anywhere. I kind of did, think. So you have to prepare for success here, guys, right? You have to think about what you want. So many people just write down what they think they want, or what they think they should want, or a dollar amount they want to make, or something they want in their account, or some external measure of success that the company or the world or Facebook puts on you. Think about what you guys really want. It's the most important piece of the puzzle, because if you don't really want it and really like it, you're not gonna do a very good job at it. So the most important piece of the puzzle is prepare and actually think about what you want and how you're gonna get to it. I'm gonna draw something real quick. So this is Brett's triangle of success, trademarked, registered. It's not, but okay. So if you're gonna be, you hopefully have heard us talk about this before. If you're going to be successful at anything, you have to have all three of these aspects. You have to have a goal, you have to have a plan, and you have to take action. If at any point in your journey, whatever it may be, you don't have all three of these, you might accomplish some stuff, but you'll never really accomplish anything big, and you're certainly not gonna hit any large goals you have for yourself, right? So again, the biggest thing, most people don't ever set goals for themselves. They don't ever set professional goals, personal goals, family goals, spiritual goals. Most people just react to life. They go through whatever the whirlwind of the day is taking them through, and they react to it. They don't ever actually think into the future about what's happening. Even people who do set goals don't actually take that next step and create a plan for themselves. There's a difference between a goal and a plan, right? A goal without a plan is a wish. I wish I have a lot of money one day. I wish I have this or that. So you have to have that plan so you know how you're going to execute to achieve this goal. And the last thing, I don't know if there's one more important than the other, but the last thing, as important, is action. If you sit on the couch all day long, you're never going to have any success, right? So you have to have all three of these things. If you only have two of them or one of them, you're gonna kind of be like a one-legged duck, right? You're doing stuff, but you're just kind of going in circles. You're not really moving forward or accomplishing anything. So think about this. This is how we set up our Kivo system. This is how we kind of set up our goal planning system. But really think about this, because if you don't have all of these written down, following them, where you can see them and look at them and reflect on them, then you're not gonna have the kind of progress you could if you did, right? Write down your goals, write down your plan, and then actually take action on it. Hold yourself accountable. So this is the Brett Kreger triangle of success. I'll leave it there in case anyone wants to take a picture. Hashtag triangle of success. Okay. Yes. Oh, hashtag triangle of success sweatband. Okay, so again, think about that. Everything we're doing is based around this concept of having a goal, creating a plan, and taking action on it. So treat your goals like you treat your grocery shopping. So I think it's a reasonable thing to approach your life and your goals with the same preparation as you do your grocery shopping list. When was the last time someone went grocery shopping and didn't write anything down? They're just kind of walking through, seeing what looks good. I do that sometimes, but it's not, don't go grocery shopping when you're hungry either, if you ever heard that. treat your goals with the same, approach them with the same detail orientation as you would your grocery shopping list. So you're gonna you're gonna go through your house, right? Figure out what you don't have, what you need, your toilet paper, your paper towels, everything else, groceries, you're gonna write it all out. My wife, even once she writes all of it out, she starts moving it into where the aisles are so she can get them in a line, right? Because she's very detail oriented. You do that? Yeah, that way you can just, because otherwise you're just like checking this off and this. So if you're putting this much energy and effort into your grocery shopping list and not your goals in your life, there's a problem with that. And the reason is because it's so easy to get swept up into, again, what I call the whirlwind of everyday life. If you didn't plan or do anything, you just woke up every day, life will give you a million things to go worry about and do and stress about, and you won't actually get anywhere. You're like on a treadmill, right? So approach your goals with the same effort and activity that you would your grocery shopping. Think about what you want. So this is what we were talking about. Most people, they write down what they think they're supposed to write down. They write down what other people are writing down. They write down something they saw on Facebook or what they think external factors should expect them, right? If someone wants to be in real estate and make an extra $20,000 a year, don't feel like you have to write $100,000 down. Figure out what you need, what you want, what you got going on in your life. Maybe it's not money. You know, we'll go over this. Money is a part of it. There's more to it than that. So really think about what you want in 1 year, in 3 years, in 5 years, in 6 months, 30 days, all that. Human beings are unique. We're the only animal on the planet that can actually think about the future, that can actually see something in our imaginations and then act on it. Every other animal acts on instinct, and that's it. They can plan and they know what they're doing, but no one can actually see something in their head and go do it, except humans. So use that ability. Philosophers and thinkers throughout the centuries have all said about the same thing. We become what we think about. A man's life is what his thoughts make of it. Marcus Aurelius, who's the Roman emperor and philosopher. A man is what he thinks about all day long. Ralph Waldo Emerson, author. This one's a little longer. William James was an American philosopher and historian. My greatest discovery is that human beings can alter their lives by altering their attitudes of mind. We need only to, in cold blood, act as if the thing in question were real, and it will become infallibly real by growing into such a connection with our lives that it will become real. To simplify this, it's kind of like fake it till you make it, right? Do the thing, be the thing, act as if you've already got it and you're already doing it, and your mind is going to inherently see the things it needs to see, avoid the things it needs to avoid to accomplish whatever that is in your mind. Whatever we think about is what we become, is what we do. We'll talk about that a little bit more here in a minute. So another thing on this think piece, I think nowadays with the internet and cell phones, I think human beings don't think at all anymore. I'm guilty of this. If I'm sitting in line at Chick-fil-A and I have like 8 seconds before it's time to order, I'm pulling out my phone and I'm looking at my text messages because I can't wait 8 seconds with my own thoughts. And it bleeds over into our night lives, into our family time, dinner time, sitting at a dinner table, whatever it might be. We have so many distractions in this world that no one actually sits down and thinks. And so years ago I read the autobiography of Benjamin Franklin, who was a very, very, very intelligent person. But one thing he does is he time blocks thinking, like time to think and meditate. Not meditate in the sense of don't think of anything, but meditate in the sense of think about what happened yesterday. How did each conversation go yesterday? What could I have done better? What can I do today about that? Spend time to think, just thinking about stuff. And again, we don't think because we don't have to. Everything's on our phone. There's distractions to fill every second of our day. And so creating daily routines and time blocking that to think and meditate is a huge benefit. Because again, nowadays, if you don't want to think, you don't have to. You can go all day long without having one original thought if you want to. Just have your phone out in front of you the whole time. There's a business book called Traction, if anyone's heard of that. It's about an entrepreneur. It has the EOS, which is an entrepreneur operating system. It's a business book about how to operate a business. They have something in that called clarity breaks, and they recommend having regular clarity breaks, whether it be 30 minutes a day, an hour a week, 2 hours a month, a whole day every quarter, whatever it might be. Have regular, what they call clarity breaks. And the idea is you sit down with a blank piece of paper, no technology, don't use your computer, don't have your cell phone out, be in a quiet area if you can, but somewhere you can be alone where you're not getting distracted. And what they say, and the idea is you just stare at the page. Think about what you want, think about what your business, think about whatever it is you're trying to innovate or fix that day, but just stare at the blank piece of paper. And I've done this a few times, and it's amazing how when something works, we don't ever do it again. But I've done this several times, and every time I do it, it's like magic. It's like literally, I just start having thoughts. Things just start to surface and bubble to the top. And you're gonna think at the end of it, why have I not thought of this before? And it's because you've never sat down and intentionally tried to solve problems like you can in what they call these clarity breaks. So last time I sat down for an hour and did it, and blank piece of paper, no computer, no phone, and you just think about whatever the problem is or whatever the strategy or whatever it is, whether it be your kids, your family, your job, whatever it might be. Think about it and just stare at your blank piece of paper, and your mind's gonna begin to wander, and then it's gonna start populating ideas. It's gonna start brainstorming for you. So it's an extremely, extremely valuable thing is to actually take time and think. So I would encourage people to do that more often. All right, figure out what you really want. So anything worth doing is gonna be hard, right? You've heard that before. Getting into something new, adults are not built or trained to learn things new beyond the age of 18. And we're not built to learn independently. We're built to read from a book and be told what to think just through the education system as children. And so when you get into something new, it's going to be hard. You're gonna stretch your mental capacity to a point where you feel like it's gonna snap, and then you have to hit reset and you gotta stretch it again. Then you have to reset and stretch it again. But this has to be something that you really, really want, because there's going to be a million things pop up, and there's gonna be a million things that present themselves to you to distract you. And if it's not something you really, really want or really, really enjoy, then you're gonna take whatever pops up, you're gonna take that distraction, and it's gonna become your excuse. It's gonna be the reason you didn't succeed. It's gonna be the reason you didn't do that prospecting thing, or you didn't go to that appointment or whatever. And so this has to be something you really, really want. And if real estate's not the thing you really, really want, it's the avenue for you to get to what you really, really want, think of it like that. When I got into real estate, I didn't want to be a realtor selling 50 houses a year forever. That wasn't my goal. I wanted to invest in real estate. Being a real estate agent was my avenue to that. And I kept that in mind as I was doing that to allow me to have success. So again, it's going to be really, really hard. There will be a million things pop up to distract you, a million shiny objects. And if it's not something you really, really want, then you're gonna chase those other things down, and you'll never have success. Again, you're gonna be going in circles. So here's a little, think about what you're thinking about. Here's a little mindset trick that I had learned from, anyone know who Eric Thomas is? Motivational speaker on YouTube. Super good, very high energy, very good. I spent, my first 2 years in the industry. Anytime I was in the car, I didn't listen to music for like 2 years. If I'm in the car or at home or anything, it's book on tape, motivational speaker, YouTube talks, something like that. And I listened to about every video this dude popped out. And he has tons of awesome nuggets that I could talk a whole hour on. But this one is a mindset trick. And it's, think about what you're thinking about. So when you get into the daily hustle and bustle and the daily grind and the whirlwind of your goals, it's gonna be real easy to think, I don't wanna do that today, or I'll push this off till tomorrow, or just go through the motions and give it a half effort. And so what he says is, when you find yourself hesitating to do something, or not wanting to do something, or going through it and doing it half butt, think about the opportunity instead of the obligation. Most people, when we're doing these things, if you're doing a for sale by owner, don't do it because Brett said to go do a for sale by owner. Do it because if I meet that person, they might have 2 other rental properties they need to sell, or they might have to go buy a house, or their brother might be buying a house next month that they're gonna refer me to because I did a great job. Think about the opportunity on the other side of this, and not the obligation because it was what I was told to do. Same thing if we're trying to lose weight or something, right? Don't think about, I gotta go to the gym today because I didn't go yesterday, or because I wrote down that I wanted to lose weight on my goal sheet. Go because you got that vacation coming up and you want to be able to walk around that town without huffing air, right? Or you wanna you're going to the beach and you want to look good or whatever it might be, think about the opportunity on the other side of whatever the task is you're trying to do instead of the obligation, and it flips everything around to the mindset of gain and abundance instead of the mindset of like dread, fear, doubt. Because when you're operating in that mindset, you're not going to have success in anything. So if you can flip it around and trick yourself into thinking about the opportunity instead of the obligation, it'll give you a lot more willpower to have success and do what you need to do. All right. What have you given? So this is where once you have your goals set out, hopefully they're worthwhile goals. They're hard. They're goals that are far out, where you're at time-wise and effort-wise, and it's something that you're gonna have to actually work for. So what have you given? Nothing. You ever heard the saying, there's no such thing as a free lunch? Nothing is free. No one's ever gonna give you anything. You're gonna have to go earn it. What are you gonna do to meet these goals? Just because you write something down doesn't mean you're gonna go get it just inherently by being around, right? Getting your license doesn't mean you're gonna make money. What are you gonna do to earn these goals? Get outside of your comfort zone. So I want you to think about it as like your success and your comfort zone is kind of like a pendulum. So it's swinging back and forth, right? So in order for it to swing this way, it has to come back this way to let go of it, right? Before it can swing. So on this side of the pendulum, I want you to think about all the things that you don't want to do, all your fears, your doubts, your FSBOs, your open houses, your networking, all the things that are hard, the activity. And what you're doing is you're pulling that pendulum back so that when you let go of it, it's gonna swing over here. And this is success, money, freedom, whatever the things you want and desire, your goals. And if you swing it back a little bit, it's gonna come back a little bit, right? You swing it back a lot, it's gonna come back a lot. And so your effort is gonna be proportional to your gain in anything that you do. And so you have to get outside of your comfort zone and do things that you've never done before to have things that you've never had before. Does that make sense? So if you want to swing to that side of success and money and all that other freedom and whatever else it might be, your goals, you have to swing it the other way first before it can swing back this way. And so get outside your comfort zone to have that success. And so sacrifice who you are for who you will become. This is an Eric Thomas quote. And so the idea is, if you do what you've always done, you'll have what you've always had. And that's what he says. If you want what you've never had before, you got to do what you've never done before. When I was brand new, I like watching college football. I like watching NFL football. And when I was brand new, I knew I wanted to quit my job. I had this goal. I knew what I wanted to accomplish. And that meant I had to do open houses Saturday and Sunday, sometimes for more than 4 hours because I had new construction listings that I wanted to sell, every single Saturday and Sunday. If you know anything about football, college football plays on Saturdays and Sundays. And so I missed a lot of opportunities to watch football with my friends, watch it at my house, do all these things. And I'm sitting in a house alone. Half the time no one shows up and I'm sitting there just messing around, reading a book or something. But I had to do that because I knew, again, I'm looking at the opportunity instead of the obligation. I knew if I could sit there long enough, be there enough days, learn enough, read enough, experience enough communication and clients come in, I knew that I could stop doing that one day. I knew I wouldn't have to do open houses every single Saturday and Sunday if I just did it long enough. I did that for 6 or 7 months probably. Finally just started doing open houses on Sundays. Then eventually got to a point where I do open houses whenever I wanted to, and then I do it whenever I want to train someone. And so you have to sacrifice who you are and what you are for what you want to become, because they are two different people. And you have to kill one before the other one can live. So do the things you don't want to do so that person can live. Again, if you've never made $100,000 or 200 or 300 or whatever that goal is, you've got to do the things that person does, and you have to get out and become that person. Before I jump into that, so there's another motivational author. His name's Charlie Jones. He had a quote, and it says, "You will be the same person in 5 years as you are today, except for the people you meet in the books that you read." And the idea is the only way to grow as a person is to meet new people and read new books. Otherwise, as an adult, we're not in school anymore, we're not doing anything. As an adult, you stay the same person every single year. And I found this quote, and it shook me pretty hard. because I was in a period of living the same year over and over again when I read this, but some people live 70 years and some people only live 1 year 70 times. And that shook me again when I read it, because I was in a period of living 1 year. And so if you're not doing stuff, if you're not growing, learning, meeting new people, expanding yourself, getting outside your comfort zone, you're literally living the same life every single year. You're living the same year every single year. You're getting older, which makes things harder, and you're not moving forward at all. And so I made it big because it was very impactful to me. So some people live 70 years and some people live 1 year 70 times. I wrote that down at the top of my notebook when I saw it, and I looked at it a lot. Because you have the opportunity to change that. At any time, at any moment, any day, you can just start doing something new, but you have to get out of it. Okay, we're getting more towards the goal part. So the law of attraction, in what's in psychology or in science, they call it selective experiencing. So has anyone ever, what's the book? The Secret. Has anyone heard or read the book, The Secret? Manifesting stuff into reality. And the idea is, there's science behind it. The idea is your brain has so many, triggers throughout the day. It picks up 1 billion things throughout the day that's happening, and it can't possibly register everything. Your conscious mind can't possibly register everything. So what it's doing is, it's narrowing down based on what's going on in your conscious mind, so you're only seeing the things that you're focusing on. So again, you use the common example of, if you go buy a red car and you pull out of the lot, what do you start seeing all over the place? Red cars. You want to buy a car, you start seeing it all over the place. You want this, you want that, you're thinking about this, you start seeing it all over the place. When I was brand new, I don't think I knew what a FSBO was before I got, I thought a home for sale was a home for sale, right? Didn't know what a FSBO was. Didn't know the difference between a rent sign, sale sign, FSBO sign, blah, blah, blah. I get my license. My mentor tells me to go call FSBOs. I start seeing FSBO signs everywhere because I'm looking for them. I want to see them. And so the idea is, you see whatever you're focusing on. Will sent me a TikTok, Instagram, Simon Sinek video the other day that was really good. And if you don't know who Simon Sinek is, watch him. He's a very smart guy, very good, well-spoken. He talks about how the brain cannot process a negative. So you think of like a photo and the negative of a photo, like the opposite. The brain cannot process the opposite. So the example he uses is, if I tell you, don't think of an elephant, what are you thinking of? An elephant. You can't, there's no negative in the mind, right? And so he uses the example of a skier. If I'm skiing down a mountain and I'm thinking, don't hit a tree, what am I seeing? Trees everywhere. I can't get away from them, they're everywhere. If I'm going down, the idea is, don't have that negative in your mind, have the positive inverse of that. So don't think, don't hit the trees, think, follow the path. And then the trees are gonna disappear. Does that make sense? And that's how this works. And so don't work out of fear or scarcity. Work out of a positive mindset and think of abundance, and that stuff's gonna disappear. Because if you're in a bad mood, who's ever been in a bad mood and then it's just one thing after another is happening? And that's how it works. And the same thing happens when you're in a good mood. You just don't process it because your brain likes negative things better than positive things. But when everything's going right, it just feels like you can't miss sometimes. Great day, everything's happy, weather's great, blah, blah, blah. Because it's what your brain is processing. It's the exact same day, everyone's experiencing the exact same external factors, but it's what their it's what their perception is of that day or that activity that's allowing them to process it and be successful, or shut down and be negative. So that was a good Simon Sinek video, Will, thank you. I told you I'd steal it. I stole it, it's mine now. Okay, so selective experiencing, right? Law of attraction. Think in positive and you will receive in positive. Your brain, it puts out whatever you put in. That's it. You put negative stuff in, it kicks negative stuff out. You put positive stuff in, kicks positive stuff out. Very simple. All right, more tactical stuff here. SMART goals. Who's seen this acronym before? Very, very popular. When we're writing goals, they have to be very specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. The one thing I encourage people to be a little flexible on is attainable. When people put, sometimes my wife and I have an interesting dynamic. I'm in a million places at once, doing a million things, head in the clouds, dreaming, doing all this stuff, and she's more like, well, we have to do this and this and this. She's very organized, and she does all that stuff. And so when we set our goals and made like a dream board type thing, she just kind of put tasks on it, like things that were gonna get done anyway. And you have to, when people put constraints on themselves, they either aren't thinking big enough, or they think this is all I can do, or this is all I should do, or this is all I should want. So attainable is important, right? I can't be richer than Jeff Bezos by 2024, right? It's a great goal. It's not attainable. But don't say I want a 2% increase in my salary, or 3%, because inflation will do that for you. So really make it attainable, but don't limit yourself on these. That's the only thing I say be flexible with. But when we go through our goals, we're gonna be specific, exactly what you want. Measurable, timely, you wanna put dates down, when do I want it by, relevant, make sure it's something that actually you care about and you want, that feeds into the other aspects of your life, otherwise you just forget about it. Measurable, an exact dollar amount, an exact weight, an exact whatever, and then specific, how are you gonna get there? We're gonna talk through that. Again, more science, write it down. So 90% of people don't write down their goals. You have a 10 times more likely to accomplish your goals if you write them down, according to a Harvard business study. 65% chance of accomplishing them if you tell someone about your goals, and a 95% chance if you regularly have accountability meetings from American Society of Training and Development. So think about them, write them down, share them with people, and then look at them regularly. That's the concept, that's the idea. The more regularly you look at them, if they are a true, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, timely goal, that's the best opportunity you can give yourself, is to look at them and read them regularly, tell people about them, and have accountability. And when you do that regularly and look at it regularly, you're continuing to put that frame in your head, and that's what you're looking at the world through the frame of those goals, and that's what allows you to see opportunities and avoid distractions, because you're regularly looking at it. It's in the back of your mind all the time. You're looking through the world, at the world through that frame. All makes sense? Basic stuff here. I just want to recap all of it for you. All right, now we're going through our worksheets. So this is something we had created by looking at a bunch of different goal setting processes and books and strategies and seminars, webinars, blah, blah, blah. And we compiled this process. So again, when you get your calendar, hopefully tomorrow, the first couple of pages are this. I printed them off for you for today. You can print them off, keep them wherever you want, but the first couple of pages is this goal setting activity. So if you have agents that come on in the middle of the year, this isn't like a January thing. If you start something or you want to achieve something in June, sit down, write these out. You're going to come up with intermediate goals and destinations and go through it like normal. So it doesn't have to be a January thing. If you meet an agent that joins us in March, have them sit down and work through this goal process, because it still affects how you act every single day. Okay, completing page one. So here's page one. Fill out 3 goals per topic that you want to achieve this year or in the next year. This many goals is too many to focus on, but the exercise will allow you to liberate your mind's wildest ambitions. Don't be afraid to think big, set big goals for yourself to strive for. Most people don't achieve as much as they could, not because they aim too high and miss, but because they aim too low and hit it. That is a Les Brown quote, very good quote. So this first page, and it's hard. This part takes me time. There's a lot of goal. What is that? 3 times, there's 20 something goals here. You have to really stretch into your mind and think about what you want and what's important. But what it does is it starts to expand your thought process beyond your daily needs and wants, and allows you to create this list of to-dos and wants and goals. So this is really an exercise. Put all of them down here. And if you have 5 for the business one and and 10 for the family one, whatever. Write down as many as you need, but I try to have at least 3 for each one. And so a couple of examples, some stuff I've done in the past, like the relationship one. I've said that I want to go to lunch with a friend, with like an acquaintance friend at least once a week, right? So I'm kind of building stronger relationships or reaching out to build new relationships, stuff like that. Lifestyle is going to be like leisure, entertainment stuff. If you like going to concerts or traveling or riding bikes, whatever your lifestyle is, try to cater to that. Family, obviously, mental, taking care of your mental health, whether that be expanding your mental health or working on your mental health. Physical, obvious. Financial and business. Financial is going to be more money related, savings, debt. Business is going to be more like a business accomplishment. How many transactions do you want to sell? That kind of stuff. So go through each one, but there's no wrong answers here. Use this as an opportunity to expand what you normally think about on a daily basis. Questions on page 1? Dang, Justin's already half done. Golly. Everyone signed this, right? All right. Okay, understanding goals, completing page 2. So we're gonna start to refine this huge list of 20 plus goals and break it down to more important and more manageable goals. So our top 10, from all the goals you wrote on the first page, narrow them down to your top 10 overall goals and set deadlines for them. Now again, an obvious deadline might be like December 31st, 2023. That can be a deadline. But if it's something that you think can be achieved sooner, or if it's a stair-step goal where you need to accomplish this goal before you can accomplish this goal, think through it. Don't just give yourself a whole year. Figure out what you can actually accomplish to kind of stress yourself and push yourself to take action, not just sit back till November and then start working on it. So we're gonna break down those 20 plus goals into 10. What are the 10 that we really care about that are gonna allow us to accomplish the other things that we want in our life? The next section is banner goals. So the idea is to limit what you focus on to achieve more. If you ever heard the saying, if you chase 2 rabbits, you catch none, do less to accomplish more. And so we're trying to break this down even more, right? So we broke it down to our top 10. Now we're breaking it down to our top 3, what we call banner goals. And these could be in 3 different categories. You could have a physical, a financial, and a business goal, or they could be all 3 business, whatever it might be. But just know whatever you're focusing on is where your life is going to skew. So if you're in a season of your life where you want or need to focus on family, try to lean to that. If you're in a season of life where you can focus on business or financial, lean into that. But think about whatever you put down here, whatever you're working on, it is a give and a take. So if you're focused on this is going to suffer. If you're focusing on this is going to suffer. So keep that in mind. Very important to make sure you're understanding. We want to have it all, and we think we can have it all, but whatever there's only 24 hours in a day. So make sure you know what you're focusing on, and you're okay with that. So banner.
Would you say that maybe you should have some that don't overlap? Like you should say, like, in my first 3 months, these are these goals, and then these, like the time of those, so like these are 3 months, and some might be goals.
So you kind of want to have, most of your goals should be annual goals, and then we're going to set, on page 3 we set, oh never mind, it's bottom of page 2. Bottom of page 2, we're setting quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3. So if you want to sell 5 transactions in quarter 1, just put 20 in the year, and then 5 is going to be our quarter 1 goal, right? So we're going to break them down into sections, but there's no real wrong way to set goals. You can set and reassess goals quarterly. I can't remember I think it's a.
I was just thinking because sometimes you have 3 goals, you don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So should you put you better just put like your top 5, and maybe some won't be a full year, then you can add more bandwidth.
Yeah. Yeah, 1 to 3 is the max amount of goals you should have. So yeah, you could be on a 6-month goal setting cycle where you can hit 6 months and go on to the next. I think it was Bill Gates had a quote, but it's something along the lines of, we overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 5 years. And the idea is, if you don't set a large enough time horizon for yourself, you're just kind of in the whirlwind. You're just kind of running around. And so you want to kind of give yourself time to build into a goal, and one that's worthwhile, that'll help all the other pieces on the board move forward, kind of thing. So yes, that's not wrong. You can do like a 6-month cycle of goal setting, but I wonder if sometimes you're setting too small of goals, if that's the case. And if you're setting a goal to set another goal, just make that your goal. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I guess the other thing that would ask that is that I'm going to do an agent, right? So in my first year.
Yeah.
So I may not know what like attainable
Expectations.
Expectations are too low or maybe they're too high.
Yeah.
So it looks like, I have to kind of gauge that. I'm going to throw a number out there, but it's just like,
Yeah, darts. And that's, the beautiful thing is, okay, you're going to set that goal, and then we're going to reverse engineer. What do I need to do each day to achieve that? And that's going to, if you set, when I got my license part-time, I thought, okay, well, I'm part-time, I want to sell 24 houses a year. And then when I come on full-time, I want to sell 50 a year. And then I got into it, and it was like 2 months went by, and it was like, well, that's not going to, happen. I sold nothing in my first 2 months, didn't even have a client, or had a client probably, but so I didn't know either. I thought 2 houses a month, how hard could that be? And then I learned quickly. So I understand not knowing the expectation. And if you're brand new at something, setting a shorter time horizon might not be a bad idea, but I'd say get with us. Let's talk about what's possible and realistic. Your mentor sold 20, how many did you sell in your first year?
30, 35.
Tough guy. 35 in his first year.
2020.
It was 2020. You may have read about it. There was a pandemic going on, and my guy's out here selling 30 houses, and he was waiting tables half that time too. So, tough guy. All right. So yeah, I'd say let's figure out what's realistic, because again, if you're pulled in too many directions, if you're volunteering at the church and got kids and blah, 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 and it's baseball season, you got stuff 3 nights a week, and there's periods of your life where you just can't. Or you get with your spouse or your family and you say, I'm not going to be around the next 3 months, or I'm going to be home late, or whatever that might, set those expectations. But I would say let's figure out what we have the capacity to do, the will, the desire to do, the ability to do, and then let's try to make a good goal with that. Does that kind of answer?
Yeah,
You're not wrong. Setting a shorter goal cycle, I think it cuts yourself short sometimes when you could do more, but in this instance, you're not really sure what you can do. Yeah. That's what this is. Don't be afraid. I wouldn't adjust your goals on a weekly or monthly basis, but quarterly you can look at them and say, I'm going to blow this out of the water, or I either need to change my goal or start doing something else because I'm not anywhere. I'm not on pace. That's something that Traction Book, the Entrepreneur Operating System, they have you set rocks for yourself, which is basically a banner goal for this. And you look at your rocks quarterly to see if you're on pace. And if you don't, you adjust the rock, or you throw it out, or you set new goals, something like that. But you set them quarterly. Give yourself that quarter to achieve what you can, and then adjust from there, which is why we have quarterly timelines here. But yeah, to your original point, 1 to 3 goals is the most 3 is probably too many. If they're in different aspects of your life and you can properly segment them, you might be able to accomplish more than 1. But we want to have 3 there so that we can kind of hone in our goals. And the idea is, you might have 10 here, and you might have 4 that you want to put here, but it only tells you to put 3. So the idea is figure out which one of those could help me achieve the 4th one, right? There are certain things, like if one of my goals is earn $200,000, another goal is buy a rent house. Well, that $200,000 goal is going to help me buy the rent house. So I'm going to focus on it first. So prioritize them and put the ones that are going to lead to success in the other ones as well, by narrowing them down. And then intermediate destinations, use this section to plot out your year. So this is what we're talking about. So if I want to sell 20 houses a year, then I'm probably not going to do 5, 5, 5, 5. I know my first year was significantly backloaded with my transactions. I'm sure Will's was too. You probably sold 10 in the first 6 months and then 20 in the next 6 months or something like that. So figure out what kind of quarterly goals we want to go after. Maybe we just want 1 for the first quarter, or 2 And then through the summer, the quarter 2 and 3, maybe we want 6 and 7, and then your momentum's going to build. So get with your mentor, get with your spouse, whatever it is you're setting these goals with, and set quarterly benchmarks for your banner goals. And then monthly, track them. You want to track them weekly, your activity weekly, but then your goals monthly. So that's where, I don't know if I talk about that anywhere. Taking off. All right, see you guys. Sorry, I know we started late. So when we're setting goals, one thing I forgot to mention, there's a difference between a leading goal. You guys are good. You're good. See you guys. There's a difference between a leading goal and a lagging goal, right? Or a leading indicator and a lagging indicator. And when you're setting goals and when you're taking your action, you need to be focusing on your leading indicators. So I use the example of losing weight all the time. If I want to weigh 190 pounds, my goal can't be weigh 190 pounds. My goal needs to be eat less than 2,000 calories a day, work out 3 times a week. Those are my goals. And then I will eventually, if I do that diligently, weigh 190 pounds. Does that make sense? And so you're putting your lagging indicator here, but when you're taking your action, you need to be focusing on your leading indicators. We'll go over that. Probably should have gone over that in the action piece here. But with the destinations, that's what we want to do, is set quarterly destinations so that we can reevaluate each quarter where we're at based on the actions that we've been taking and the results we've been getting. Questions on this? Thank you for the discussion.
That's good.
Yeah. Okay, understanding the goals, page 3, take action. Identify what actions you need to take in the next 24 hours, then what actions you need to take in the next 30 days to jumpstart your year and put you on the right track to accomplish your intermediate destinations and subsequently your yearly goals. So this is kind of like a brainstorming session here. So you come up with your 20-something goals, we narrow it down to our 10, we narrow it down to our 3, we come up with our quarterly benchmarks. Now we're gonna brainstorm. Okay, I got my 3 banner goals. What can I do in the next 24 hours to start to kick this off, right? So maybe my banner goal is sell 50 houses. Okay, if I'm gonna sell 50 houses, I'm gonna have 20-something listings at least. And then from those listings, I'll get another 20 buyers out of it, referrals, blah, blah, blah. Okay, I need 20 listings to sell 50 houses. I'm gonna make a list of 20 friends and family to network with. I wanna make a list of 20 FSBOs that I can call and start prospecting. So just what action can you take today to take a step towards those goals? What are we doing today? Because a lot of times when we set goals, we get stuck in the think big piece, which is an important piece, but we don't ever start. We think big and we're like, okay, now what? So what actions are we taking today, right? So Jackie, we have those goals of attorneys, right? Okay, let's find some, today our action is let's find 5 attorneys or cold call 10, right? So take that goal of what we want and come up with something you do today in the next 24 hours for each one of your banner goals. Then actions in the next 30 days. What can I do in the next month to move me towards that? So again, the next 24 hours, I'm gonna make a list of 24 by owners to call. In the next month, I want to have gone on 15 appointments with them. So you're taking actions that we're gonna do in the next 30 days. Then that'll roll us into our quarterly and then annual goals. So again, go on, set 5 appointments, cold call 10 of the attorneys, whatever it might be. But this gets you, we've done the think big thing. Now we're whittling it down, we're reverse engineering it to what do I need to do today, and then what do I need to be doing over the next 30 days to start to achieve some of these goals. Does that make sense? Think big, start small. Very important. Think big, start small. All right, page 4. This is the Think and Grow Rich principle. Has anyone heard of the Think and Grow Rich book? Napoleon Hill, really good book. I have some homework for you, and that is part of it. Oh man. Okay, so the Think and Grow Rich principle. Write out a clear, concise statement of the amount of money you intend to acquire, name the time limit for its acquisition, state what you intend to give in return for the money, and describe clearly the plan through which you intend to accumulate it. This statement is very literal. Do not type it out. Don't just think about it. Literally write it out. There's a reason you want to write it down. Look at any study about how people learn and memorize. Those who just hear or read tend to learn less than those who write it out. This is due to the fact that you are also giving yourself a visual symbol while you're processing each word that you write down. So write out everything you have decided so far. Write it as many times as it takes to sink in. After you write it, make sure you read it at least once a day. This is the Think and Grow Rich principle. And so this statement, again, this is one of those things that works so well, I never do it again. My first 2 years in the business, did this both years, achieved exactly what I told myself I was going to achieve by doing exactly what I told myself I was going to do. And it was a 3, 4, 5 sentence paragraph that I wrote and then taped it in the side of my calendar, looked at it every single day. It's very simple. The busier you get, you think you don't have time for it, but this is what allows you to stay clear on what you need to do. So very, 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 very important, the Think and Grow Rich principle. It seems silly, seems unnecessary, but it's very, very literal. Write it down with your hand, takes longer, allows you to think about each word, allows you to reread it, allows you to think about it and then relive it by writing it and saying it and reading it. There's tons of opportunity, tons of benefit by writing it down. So you have a little opportunity to write your statement down there. Again, this is in the book. So in your calendar, you've got your Think and Grow Rich principle statement here. Write it down in here. That way you can look at it every day if you want to. And then daily and weekly tracking. So again, page 4, this is what's in your book that you'll get if you use the Kivo calendar. And so it has your weekly goals. We put the font system on there for new agents to kind of track their font activity. But then we left a lot of blanks for you to add your banner goals, your personal goals, physical, financial, spiritual, mental, whatever else. Add your banner goal 1, banner goal 2, banner goal 3 each week. That allows you to write it down weekly so you can relive it, re-experience it, remember why it's important. Here on the top left. And then at the bottom, it's got your daily tasks. So it's got, again, the normal font tasks. If you want to follow the font system, you check all those boxes. Then it's got some extra boxes for you to write down towards whatever tasks you want to do that help you accomplish your weekly banner goals. Again, so back to kind of Jackie's goal there of reaching out to a certain number of attorneys to do certain things. If you want 2 or 3 a week, time block your periods, put them down, check them where you want to do them, your tasks to go research them, find them, create an account for us to scrape data, whatever it is, those things need to be done. Write them in your tasks, time block them to be done, and write your goal in your weekly goals to accomplish it. So maybe it is, you want to call 3 of them this week. So write down, that's your banner goal for the week, weekly banner goal, call 3 FSBOs, attorneys, buyers, whatever. So use this weekly and daily to track your goals, remember why you do it, reread it, all the benefits that come with rereading and remembering what you're doing. Your homework. Finish your goal worksheet, or wait till you have your calendar and write it, or rewrite it in your calendar. You'll probably write and scribble. Have you scribbled anything yet? Oh, you're using pencil, smart. So you've erased some stuff, yeah. You'll write stuff down and you'll think, oh, I'm gonna change that, or that's not really that important to me, or I'm gonna increase that. Or so you'll scribble all over it. So use this, we can print more if you want. Use this to write it and then input it into your book, your calendar. If you don't use our calendar, write it into whatever calendar you look at, something that you can look at daily. Read Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. That's it over there. And then watch the YouTube video, The Strangest Secret by Earl Nightingale. Has anyone heard of this? Watched it? Did I make you watch it a long time ago? Okay, good. This is one of those things, just like Eric Thomas, I memorized all his videos. I had this thing memorized as well. I couldn't tell you how many times I listened to it in my first 2 years. But this is what you need to go. This is the one I found. Earl Nightingale, The Strangest Secret. There's a bunch of different versions of it. It's a guy in the 50s Again, I think, not psychologist, yeah, psychologist. I think he was a psychologist and motivational speaker. But
So similar to The Secret.
it's very simple. Yes, it is. It's the same concept. That's what's so. All the philosophers throughout the years, all these motivational speakers today, everything, they all say the same thing. They just repackage it differently. But it's all whatever you think about, whatever you focus on, you will achieve. It's as simple as that. Think and Grow Rich is the exact same thing. The Earl Nightingale thing, he puts some color to it and animates it a lot, but it's the exact same thing. At the end of that, he has like a 3 or 4, or is it 10 step? I can't remember. At the end of it, he has like some steps to follow to better your life. Very simple stuff to think and do. But it's an incredible video. The book is very good. It's kind of dense. It's kind of hard to read. I wouldn't recommend listening to the book because you'll fall asleep. It's not very, just the way it's written in the 20s, and it's just kind of a read it instead. You'll comprehend it more than watching it. But good stuff. And again, it just kind of it tells you kind of how to think and why to think and when to think and about what, and allows you to change your perspective based on what you're putting in your own head. And then same thing with the video. He articulates it much, much better than I do, but it's an incredible video. And that's it, guys. That's your homework. Any questions? Is anyone excited? Anyone happy? Me too. I'm excited to set time to do this. Time block it somewhere. Be by yourself, be alone, be in a happy state of mind. Don't be in a negative or neutral state. Try to be in a state where you can think positively and think big. If you're in a bad mood or you feel yourself don't have the energy or whatever it might be, postpone it because it will affect your entire year. It will affect all your activity. Think about the opportunity. Think about the opportunity.
Manifest your reality.
Manifest your reality. Yep. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. If you have any other questions, let us know. All right. Thank you.
Already kind of got ahead of myself.
I know. I like it. You were writing it all down.
Yes, sir.